something to talk about. Every day or any time that I interview Dr. Robert Underwood is a good day for me. And especially because this is the first time I've had him as a guest on Something to Talk About, and I've actually cornered him in the corner of King's
Can't
Restaurant
leave.
here in Tamuny. It's not that cornering you is, I've never had to corner you. You're not a cornering kind of guy.
No, I'm first of all, I'm happy to do this interview, and I'm not averse to being interviewed.
No, well, this is true. You've always been open to talking to us every time we've called you, and I wonder, are there still guys like you that think that the media plays a significant role in anything that they do?
Well, I hope so, because it does. But you're right. There's a lot of people who think that so-called mass media is kind of passé, and now we're just trying to get little snippets and social media, and so the trick is to try to figure out how to get into that frame of reference and be able to do something that can communicate instantly. But you can't really. I don't believe you can communicate a message that way. I think maybe you can communicate an impression, but an impression is far from a message. And if you're running a university, impressions are just not way too shallow for what you're doing.
As we have found out.
Just way too shallow for what we're doing.
Was that annoying to you? Because I know that during your time, your desire to keep the university at a level above and beyond reproach was important to you.
Yes.
The credibility is everything in that world. And then when it came down to it became nasty. You get the guy, if you Google him once and all of this junk pops up, and then suddenly, you feel like you're the National Enquirer.
That's right.
Was that frustrating to you?
It was, but it was kind of understandable. But what we're trying to do all the time is, and we use this phrase a lot, is trying to be an honest broker. You want it to be a home for opinions, and you want it to be a home for intelligent, evidence-based conversation. Just having opinion is not enough. You have to provide some evidence for it, And so that's always been kind of our mantra. And so I always talk about the truth and evidence-based and trying to be an honest broker. That doesn't keep us from having strong personal opinions. And of course, when you get something controversial over the media, then people are circulating the controversy, but not really trying to understand, what is at stake here? What is it that we're really talking about?
Was it frustrating for you at that time? Was it frustrating for you to hear people speak so poorly about a process that seems to be like above and beyond?
Well, what was disturbing is that people don't understand that it took a long time for the university to get to this process, of how we select regents, which we have a regent nominating committee, to get to the process where the autonomy of the board to make a decision is held inviolate. And so that even if I don't agree with a decision or a direction, I have to accept it. And in order to honor that, in order to keep the institutional autonomy strong, so people quite willingly kind of like, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we take away this? Why don't we take away that decision-making process? I don't want to make an unfair characterization, but we have many other boards and commissions, and we have other units governed in the government of Guam system, which regularly fall down on the basis of the lack of institutional autonomy and a lack of integrity at that board level. So that was what was, the controversy about individuals, that didn't bother me.
Right.
But it's the notion that somehow or other, okay, let's throw this system under the bus.
Yeah.
No, don't throw the system under the bus. The system is what has kept the university afloat now for 15 years.
That's the point that I was trying to make a while ago. This is the first time I have seen a public so engaged in a process that they otherwise could care less about.
That's right.
It's like one of those things. It's like, oh, we got a shoe in, we got somebody in, we got a University of Guam president. Nobody cared. And then suddenly everybody cares. So was that the frustrating part? Would you feel like you,
that's
okay,
not that. That I'm happy for that.
About the process.
I'm happy that people are interested.
All right, all right. That's
that
good.
part I get.
All right.
What I was a little frustrating was that the willingness to say we should change the whole system
Just because
the
People got upset
decision
at it,
you didn't like the decision
Yeah.
or well that's never
not
the issue.
But is that sometimes the way it goes with the politics on Guam, that some of our leaders
Well,
think
that's
that
the whole
popular
point, ain't? The whole point is that this
The popular
system.
opinion
No,
rules?
this system has been above politics. That's the whole point of it. The whole.
Sometimes you see where it's not, though.
Of course you can. It's not impervious to politics. But what I'm saying is, I was selected, and it wasn't political. In fact, when I applied to be president in 2008, everybody warned me that they were just setting me up to embarrass me. So don't apply. But the board made an independent call, and I was selected. So it's not it's not that politics doesn't affect things, but it's the notion that the only way you can fix something is to get
change
more
it.
politics
Yeah, is
in.
to change
It's to
it.
get more
Yeah.
politics. Is that
Yeah.
really the solution to
Yeah.
this? Is to get more politics in? Call oversight hearings, change the way the board is selected? When in reality, the way that the board has been selected and the way the board has made decisions has been kept the university's integrity in front of accrediting bodies intact, which is our seal of approval.
Did it look embarrassing? Hey guys, thanks. You know what? Dr. Underwood ordered oatmeal, and
Yeah.
you know what? If he's ordering oatmeal, I'm ordering oatmeal. What on here do you? Wait. First of all, oatmeal is what? Your go-to food?
Oatmeal
is
is,
Is this your lunch? Is this
yeah.
lunch?
Hopefully, this is my. I had a little cereal this morning. So
Oh,
this
that's
is
it.
all right,
Okay.
yeah.
Have you changed like your eating habits or your lifestyle habits or anything? I want to say age has to do with anything.
Well,
or
yeah,
stress
part of
levels
that,
or-
but if Narissa's going on a plant-based diet, then I have to go along with it for a little bit, but then I'll have to.
Do you
I'll
ever-
eat out at somewhere else.
Do you ever like seriously object? Like I object, or you
No.
pick your battles on that?
No, we never.
It's not a big deal. Like if you're going to plant-based diet doesn't mean that.
No, and she's
you
not.
can't-
She's not insisting on it either. So I'm just. But no, I haven't. I've always liked oatmeal, even before it was popular.
Now, well, King's has actually got the business.
Popular. I like oatmeal.
You know what? I ate oatmeal like almost every day of my life because my parents, had 5 kids, and that was the quickest meal that you could get down in their throats before sending them off to school. It's only been later in life that I liked it. But anyway, is there anything? Gosh, I just feel like whenever I talk to you, there's almost like I can pick any subject and I will learn something about it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I wish more people felt that way. I'm not sure.
I mean, have you noticed I've never asked you about, what the latest fashion trends have been, but
something that I know about.
it's something that you know about, and you know a lot about a lot. Did you always think that the University of Guam was going? Oh, let's switch because I had yours and you have. Did you always think that the University of Guam? I mean, when you got the job, did you say this is going to be my last bid right here? This is it. This is it for me.
I wasn't sure because it was a 3-year contract, and the average term of office for a university president is 2.8 years. So, because lots of things can knock you out.
Yeah.
You're not a good fit, but something happens and controversy can just eat you up, even though you may not know much about it or it really wasn't, it just happened under your watch. So I wasn't sure I was going to last that long. But somewhere about the 4th or 5th year, I said, I'm really enjoying this and I'm going to do everything I can to help put it in a position that is so strong, people will say, wow, I want to go there.
Well, see, that was like the place where you could find, I mean, if that was going to be your last stop, did you feel like you had to go out big?
No, I mean, I figured that it's always the preponderance of effort. You know, the preponderance of effort is that people are going to look back and you say, well, you did 10 years doing this. They'll say, wow, he did a pretty good job. He didn't end with a bang. It was like a consistency. I was 10 years in Congress. I did that. I was 10 years in chair of the Chamorro Language Commission. A lot of the things that I did, settling the orthographic disputes and all that kind of stuff, you know, and I set up a system I'm content with. But, you know, I'm not waiting for somebody to say, wow, there's no one who could ever do that, you know. I'm not, you know.
You don't want a building named after you?
No, I mean,
Wouldn't that be cool, though, to
it
have
would be
the
nice,
Underwood building?
but it's not, what I want people ask me, what do you want? I said, well, I want 50 years from now. When 50 years from now, young scholars are sitting around and having a conversation and they're asking themselves, I wonder what Underwood was thinking. That would be my reward.
I wonder what Underwood was thinking.
I wonder what
Is that like
Underwood...
what would Jesus do?
No, but I wonder what Underwood was thinking about this.
When they look back at some
When they look back at anything, any kind of social trend, even if you analyze a social trend today or a political trend that I'm not personally involved with, they'll say, well, maybe Underwood had an opinion. I wonder what he was thinking about that.
That's kind of what I feel. What is Underwood thinking? I've called him on everything from, please help me understand the Trump campaign to, what are you eating for lunch? We're talking with Dr. Robert Underwood. We're going to take a break here, eat some oatmeal. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Spending some time in the corner with Dr. Robert Underwood, noshing on some oatmeal. I feel bad that I ate all of the brown sugar and all my milk. I think I'm doing the oatmeal thing wrong. This is like a health choice, right? I took all my sugar. I shouldn't have done that. But
No,
I'm feeling it now. I'm feeling it now.
It's a healthy choice, not a health choice.
Yeah. Talk to me about, speaking of the natural choice. Who came up with that slogan?
Well, it was in conversation, actually. I think I was having a conversation with someone and said, what is it that you really want? I said, I want someone who's in high school right now to stop thinking of the university as their second choice or their third choice, or I wanted to go somewhere else, but I ended up at UOG. I want it to be like the next natural step in their life. I want it to be their natural choice. And that came up in I think it was in an interview, but I'm not sure. So then I plugged it into, everything we started talking about.
Well, it worked out, I tell you.
Well, I tell you, because people used to, especially in private schools, they used to tell high school students, you better watch out for your SATs and your GPA or you'll end up at UOG. And I said, wow, that's, and you had that sense, you'd go to a high school commencement ceremony, and if they were going to some off-island college, they'd put it there. But if they were going to UOG, they'd never say. They would just say, I'm going to college. They would never put it. But now, people put it.
People do put it.
People say, I'm going to UOG.
And you could, when you watch a commencement ceremony, if you've ever been to one, I've been to one, it rivals or beats any political rally there is on Guam. There is nothing like watching local people sit in those risers and watch their kid graduating from a college where they got access to them for the entire 4 years that they were there. They didn't have to pay any, long distance fees or traveling fees, and they got as good an education as you would get anywhere.
But and the thing about that is that this is, although obviously people make it a personal choice, this should be Guam's choice, because for every 3 people that go off island to go to school, only 1 comes back.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, they all intend on coming back, but life takes over.
Sure.
They meet somebody, they find a job, then whatever
the trappings of the mainland.
Whatever it is,
they'll.
But people who go to school here, 7, 8 out of 10 will be here working somewhere.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of replenishing yourself. So the investment value of UOG is like enormous, and it's beyond just getting a degree and keeping people here. It's the economy, it's the society, it's analysis, it's having all the kind of conversations that we have that are based on conversations that are occurring at the University of Guam, or research, real research that's occurring at the University of Guam. So as we reach out, as we get these EPSCoR grants, as we get grants for School of Ed or School of Business or Social Science, as we get those, it just kind of feeds upon itself. So people, the next natural choice would be not just students, but entrepreneurs saying, I want to see what's going on at the University of Guam. Maybe I can invest a little money in there and get some new product out, or get some research done that I can commission, or anybody who has to a certain extent, if anybody in the society has a problem, if they're going to go to any institution for a solution, it'll be the University of Guam. But we want that to become more so, and so that's the next natural choice.
Are you gonna miss maybe the treatment of the big title? Congress for 10 years, university. You're gonna miss any of that?
Of course. Anybody would be a liar saying, "Why people going around calling you Mr. President?"
Oh yeah.
What's
Who
the
doesn't
downside?
like that?
What's the downside?
Tony keeps calling him Mr. Our producer keeps calling him Mr. President. It feels good.
But like I tell people, I'm only president in Manila. So
What title fits you best of all of the ones you've had?
I don't know. Dr. Underwood or
Doctor
Robert.
is the
Robert.
big.
Yeah, I mean.
But I mean, when you
that's
say,
significant.
like I could go down and introduce you in front of a massive crowd, and I'm going to say, Dr. Robert Underwood, President of the University of Guam, or I'm going to say, Congressman Underwood. Which is the ones that really?
Well, I like being a congressman, and the reason why it was good that I was in Congress first is that whatever it was that I wanted in terms of people knowing who I was, or front page coverage, or almost daily coverage in the media, I got. I had everything.
Why? Because you were Guam?
Not because I was in the paper here constantly.
Oh, I see.
I wrote Air Force One. I did this. I did that.
Well, this is true. And
so
he brought Mariah Carey here.
Yeah. So when people said when I became president of the university, it wasn't the apex of my life in terms of like personal treatment.
Right.
So I was over that. I wasn't saying, why don't we do more news stories about me? Hey, team.
Well, that's an honest answer. I like that.
Hey,
That's an honest
which is
answer.
if I was in political office, I would have said, let's do more stories about me. Let's do some feature about me, But I didn't ask for that because I'd already gotten that treatment. So I was willing to kind of share the
celebrity.
So I was over celebrity status.
Yeah. Well, you had the power to bring Mariah Carey here. I thought that was pretty cool. Can anybody take that office in Congress? Can anybody? Is it when people say you're non-voting Democrat, they kind of take off some of the importance of being a vote, an elected congressional delegate when they say that. You got to chop it off at the knees, like they're going there. They're really just going to be a figurehead because we don't have any string or we don't have any power or whatever. Is it important that we choose wisely?
No, you have to take that office very seriously, because it doesn't matter whether they have a voting representation on the floor of the House of Representatives. Everything that happens in Washington, D.C. will find a way back to that office. And whoever's occupying that office will give an interpretation. If there's an issue involving some federal agency in Guam, they'll go to that office. If there's an issue involving something happening in the military, they'll go to that office.
And they have the power to be able to inquire.
But what I'm saying is that they have the power to interpret.
I see.
That's an important thing. Who tells the Guam story? Who can interpret what Guam is about? Who can provide all the nuances to it? Not just the advocacy, but just the nuances to it. Who can look at an agency like Department of Transportation and say, when they come to me, this is the list of things I want from transportation, and these are the things I want, and this is the trips that I want for people to come out. You know, it's that level of representation. So that kind of activity is common to all members of Congress. So it's not like people imagine it to be, where people are sitting around trading votes. It just doesn't have that. And that wasn't my experience. Here's my experience. I had a very good friend named Tim Holden, who was from Pennsylvania. He came in at the same time. When they were doing the vote on a tax package, and they were down, and Clinton needed one more vote. Of course, Clinton wasn't going to call me, because I'm not voting. But Clinton called Holden. So I said, so Tim, what did the president promise you? He said, he's going to build me an airport. 8 years later, I said, did you ever get that airport? He goes, no.
Oh my God.
So maybe it's not all that it's cracked up to be. But,
what do you?
But do not diminish the importance of the person who's representing Guam. Although you can diminish the importance of the office, but don't diminish that person, because that person has more influence on federal policy, more potential federal than anybody, even the governor.
I tell you, like I said, I hope that when you slip into the world of retirement, that we could still pick your brain.
Well, sure.
On stuff, call you up.
And I have a couple of books that I think will come out of my experience. Yeah.
Okay, really?
Yeah, one on my 10 years in Congress.
I want to read that.
That's about, I'd say about 65%.
Will you include the time that you took me to dinner in the congressional dining room?
Sure, why not?
Why not? Let's just do that. Can you put my name in your book, just so that you give me some credibility in this town?
No, you don't need any credibility. People draw credibility from you.
Oh,
see,
well, that's
so that's the other lesson I tell people. I said, you have to have political capital. So when you're on the south side of an issue, you're losing capital. So even if you prevail, you've lost a lot of capital. So you have to gain it back. So you have to kind of work at it. You have to talk to people. You have to go around. And that's what I do. So the political skills that I kind of learned in Washington, I tried to apply.
Yeah.
But it's not about political connections. There's some of that. But it's more about political skills. It's like sizing people up, seeing where they're at, trying to figure out how to get everyone moving in the same direction. That's a political skill. And that's not, some people do it by saying the other side are fools and they're corrupt and they're crooks.
Yeah.
Some people say, no, we have shared common interests. So there's all these kinds of skills that you use and you utilize. So I think it's served me well. I didn't do everything I wanted to do, but there's still 4 weeks left. No, I'm just kidding.
The night is young. Thank you so much, Dr. Underwood.
Thank you.
One
Thank
of the
you so
nicest,
much.
greatest guys I know. I appreciate your time, too, here on Something to Talk About. Thanks to Kings and to Mooney and all the great staff. We'll see you next time.